those awards. Like I said, when I saw those names, there was no doubt in my mind that we were going to do that. This last award goes to our homeless champion who's out on those streets every day, helping with affordable housing, making sure that people have furniture, working tirelessly to support women in recovery. Yes. This nomination came from my good friend Chrissy Ellis. Ms. Sneed provides safe, quality, and affordable housing for women transitioning out of shelters. With a deep passion for supporting houseless women, Mrs. Sneed goes beyond simply securing homes. She ensures they are fully furnished. Often personally driving a U-Haul, and I will tell you that I've driven many U-Hauls in our day. It's not fun. Okay, they get beat up. Okay, you got to move furniture. You got to find 10, 15 people just to get the furniture out of the storage unit that nobody wants to go into. But she does this every day. The Esther Project, founded by Ms. Sneed, use a human-centered approach focusing on equipping women with the skills, resources, and mindset needed to not only obtain housing, but sustain a standard of living that fosters a brighter future. Mrs. Sneed's impact extends beyond housing. She also runs mentorship programs for girls at the front lines of poverty, addressing the root causes of homelessness and offering long-term support. Her tireless dedication reflects her belief that homelessness is unsafe for everyone, but women and children are particularly vulnerable without stable and safe housing. Given that as of 2022, women accounted for 38% of the U.S. homeless population, with many facing domestic, physical, and sexual abuse, as we heard yesterday, Mrs. Sneed's work addresses a critical and growing need. The Esther Project envisions a future where formerly homeless women are empowered, employed, and thriving, and Mrs. Sneed's efforts make her a truly deserving nominee for this recognition as an unsung hero making a huge impact on our community. I personally have worked with Cheryl. She calls me up, I need to talk to you about this. This is this house I want. I'm gonna do this with it. And we walk through that. She'll call me up, hey, my brother's doing great. Chuck and I supported her brother through very challenging times. So Miss Sneed means so much to me. And I want to bring her up for the Homeless Champion Award. Now I will tell you that we ordered this award from a very special place, and Hurricane Milton decided that he didn't want it to come up here. So we're going to present Cheryl with these lovely flowers. We'll also give her an award, and we'll talk a little bit later about something else. But I'll let Cheryl take a few moments to speak, if that's okay with you. She didn't even know that this was happening. I coerced her. Don't coerce people, by the way. But I coerced her into coming to this conference so that we could give her this award.
Good job, Nick.
Wow. I don't even know what to say.
I'm sorry.
So my next chat GPT is going to be an ever-ready award speech. Well, let me say this. Nick, he really minimized how we met, because the first time I met Nick was at that church next to the Y. my brother spent most of his life in prison. And when he got out, my husband and I brought him to our home. And my husband's a retired police officer, and he has guns in the house, and you know how that goes. They didn't want him to be in our home, but I said he has nowhere else to go. And so they made an exception. And my daughter was living with us, and she didn't know my brother. I wasn't raised with my siblings, because I was abandoned by my parents when I was younger, and I was raised by a friend. So I grew up knowing my brother, and I always loved him, and it broke my heart that he had nowhere to go. And so, you know, my daughter wasn't thrilled about having this ex-con come in the house that she didn't know, but I promised her, I said, I'll keep you safe, and I know my brother won't hurt you. And so when he came to live with us, it was hard, you know, and I had to give him rules. And he broke the rules 2 times, and that 3rd time, it was so difficult, I had to tell him he had to leave my home. Because it was endangering my daughter, endangering my husband. And I swear to God, I don't think there's been a colder day since that day. It was like 16 below. And I had to let my brother go. And I remember I would check on him. They were doing this thing in the shelters back then where the men could come in at night, but then during the day they had to walk the street. And I remember I would see him downtown, I would see him around, and it was so cold, and he was going from place to place. And then one day he told me, he goes, I met this guy named Nick, and he's gonna meet with me. He said he can help me get housing. And I came and I met, I was at that church next to the Y, and you had a backpack, and you looked like you were homeless. I thought to myself, how is he gonna help somebody? And so I remember, you know, you talked to my brother, you had a little scratch pad, and you wrote down some stuff. And the next thing I know, my brother was housed. And, like, little did I know that several years later, I would be doing the same thing.
Yes.
And it wasn't something, and if anybody here knows my story, it wasn't something that that just happened. So today I celebrate 40 years of marriage. And, when we got married, my husband and I, even the first year of marriage, we took somebody in. The second year of marriage, we took somebody in. And we were always taking people in our home. My brother wasn't the first, and he's not the last. We've always had people stay with us. And in 2016, I was like, wow, we've been doing this for a while. It's a thing. We should start a business. You know, we got a DBA, and then after that, 2020 hit. And when the pandemic hit, we were just in the street the whole time. We never shut in. The Esther Project, we did drive-by baby showers. We did the Pandemic Purse Project. And we were just, every day we were out there. And then somebody was like, you know, you should become a 501c3. I'm like, I don't know what that is. I am a housewife. I'm a kept woman. I've not really worked the 40 years I've been married other than helping people and bringing people in my home. And I was like, I don't know how to do this. And so I would call Nick, and I would call other people in the community, and I just call and say, how do you do this? You know, how do you get a 501c3? How do you get grant money? Crystal Ellis, How do you find money to do this when you have a passion inside you where it's born out of gratefulness? Because it should have been me. You know, when I listened to her story, and I know what I went through, I was ghetto adopted. And if anybody I was born in 1962, and you could just give a baby away back then. You didn't have to have paperwork. And so my mother just gave me to a friend. And so I was grateful because I saw people around me where I had my own difficult times and my own struggles, but I was so grateful that it wasn't as bad as it could have been, you know? And then to be so privileged to have somebody to, you know, come into a covenant marriage with you and take care of you. My husband has been phenomenal and generous because he's never said no. You know, every time I move somebody in, he never says no. And he never says no when I'm like, I gotta get a U-Haul truck. I need some money. You know, Esther Project doesn't have any money right now. Dwayne Sneed is the Esther Project. Because he's constantly, you know, it's our gas and everything. But being able to do this is from gratitude. Because you're just thankful that you get to be a help to somebody because somebody helped you. You know, and even if you don't know how to do it, you find out how to do it. I go to the school of YouTube all the time. How do you do this? How do you do that? And when you talk about driving U-Haul trucks, and I can tell you this day, when she stood here yesterday and she talked about how good God is a miracle worker.
Yes.
Because I picked up a U-Haul truck, a 26-foot U-Haul truck from the airport one day. And I was going on a run to pick up furniture, and then it's like I just do it all in one day. You go pick up furniture, you deliver furniture all in the same day. And in the midst of that, one of my board members, I had to go to his house, and he lives over near, off of PCHO, over near the Freddie Thomas School. So I'm going down Buffalo Road, and I was hungry, and I was gonna go to Wendy's, and at the light, I looked over, and it had this sign, and it said, you know, clearing or something. It said, like 10 something.
10-2.
Right, so I pulled the visor down on the truck and it said 11 something. And I was like, well, I can't go. So I just went on down the road. So I get on the inner loop and I'm going down PCHO and I'm flying down PCHO with this 26-foot, 11 something high truck. And I was going, right? And all of a sudden, I get to the bridge near Freddie Thomas School and it says 10. And I'm just going, and I go under the bridge and I hear this bam, and I'm like, oh my God, I just tore this U-Haul truck up. And I'm looking behind me in the rearview mirror, and I don't see anything. And I'm like, this truck is tore up. So when I get to Michael Peace's house, I said, you gotta go upstairs, you gotta look out the window because the truck is tore up. I just tore up this U-Haul truck. And he goes, there's nothing wrong with the truck. He goes, and I'm like, no, it has to be because I just went under a 10-foot truck, a bridge. And this truck, and I heard it, like I heard a bang. And he's like, there's nothing wrong with the truck.
Wow.
So you figure it out. I'm like, well then God must have threw an angel down. Because I don't know how it happened. But I do know that I'm so grateful and I'm very honored for this because, you know, miracles happen every day. I don't know how I do this every day. I really, really don't. But I'm grateful and I'm honored to serve, you know, and we get to serve all of you guys because the clients that I serve come from you because we don't have social workers. So you guys vet the people. The only way I know that somebody's story is true is when you send me, fill out my little Google form and let me know that this person was homeless and they need furniture and they need help getting in their apartment, and then that's what we do. So, I don't know what to say. Thank you, and to God be the glory. Thank you.
Okay, we gotta get rolling.